Vino Bandunai Doheno Alena Masi Aldena Kornina Alena Masi Aldena Korneo. I'd like to begin this year tonight in Shaare Orah. I'd like to dedicate this year tonight in memory of one of my rabbis, Rav Aaron Wolken, Zichron Tzadik Devracha, Ruch Adonai Tenechenu B'Gan Eden, who passed away last week. And also I'd like to dedicate Lahavdil Ben Ametim L'Hayim, Rufa Shema for Shavah Ben Hatun Hana, and Reuben Ben Hatun Hana, El Narafan Alehem, El Narafan Alehem, El Narafan Alehem. And also Rufa Shema for all of the people who are sick from this virus. May they have a speedy recovery. May they return back to the way they were before, healthy. And may the miracle of the Pesach, bring them a complete healing. El Narafan Alehem, El Narafan Alehem, El Narafan Alehem. So for those of you who can follow along in the Hebrew, I sent you the sheets so you can follow along inside. Okay, and basically we're on page Kaftet, which is 29. And we're on the top of the page over there. Of course, we read the top of the page and then we go to the bottom for the extra credit. So it's talking about the names of Hashem, and this goal of this book is to teach us about the names of God as they are written in the Torah and as they are in the Tefillah, so we can have an understanding of what the different names mean and how our prayers can be perhaps better answered through knowing the names of Hashem. And it says over here, Umilavad Shemot HaKodesh Hayiduim She'asul Mahakan. And of course, we know that there are names of God that one is forbidden to erase. We already discussed that in previous shiur. There are 7 different names that are written in the Torah that one is not allowed to erase those names. Yesh Kama Kinuyim. There are a number of nicknames. Acherim Tiluim B'chol Shem Bashem. Other names that are attached to those names, which means other names that are not the 7 names that can't be erased, that are attached to those 7 names. Kegon shetomar kinuyim shel yud kevav ke mihem. So now he's going to discuss what are the kinuyim, or shall we say, for lack of a better term, nicknames of yud kevav ke. These are names like Norah, Nose Avon. Norah is awesome. Nose Avon means carries sin. Over al pesha, passes over criminal activity. And then there are kinuyim of the name El, Aleph Lamed, Mihem. What are they? Kigon Gadol, which means great. Rachum, which means merciful. Hanun, which means beneficent. Kinuyim shel Elokim. There are also nicknames of Elokim. Umihem, what are the nicknames of Elokim? Kegon Adir, which means strong. Shofet, which means judge. Dayan, which means also judge. Ulechol ehad me'elu hakinuyim yesh kinuyim aherim. And for each one of these that we just mentioned, there are other nicknames. Tuluyim b'chol kinui v'kinui me'elu that are connected to the nicknames. Vehem shar kol milot Torah. And these are all of the other words of the Torah. So we understand that there's the name of Hashem, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei, and the 7 that are not erased. Then they have other names that are connected to those. They're like nicknames. And then all the other words of the Torah fall into nicknames of nicknames. And all the holy names of Hashem are all connected to Yud Kei Vav Kei, as we discussed in last week's class. V'kulam mitahadim bo, and all of them are unified with the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Nimtzet, therefore we see, Kol HaTorah Kula, the entire Torah, Ne'ereget al Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, is attached together with the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Ulfichach nikret Torat Yud Kei Vav Kei Temima. That's why the pasuk says Torat Hashem, Torat Yud Kei Vav Kei is perfect, is Temima. Now let's go back a little bit on the bottom, on page Kaf Tet. I want to go to the Kaf Daled, which is on the bottom. It says Kinuyim. Continue on the Hebrew. Eser Hashemot she'enam nimchakim, the 10 names of God that are not erased. We said there are 7, but there are combinations of these names that make up 10. So we have Yud Kei Vav Kei, and then we have Yud Kei Vav Kei Tzvaot. Those are 2 separate names. We have Elokim, and we have Elokim Tzvaot. Those are 2 separate names. We have El Shaddai. Those are 2 separate names. And it says over here, continuing on, these 10 names that are not erased, hem shorshei ha'hanhaga, they are the roots of the government. Keneged eses sefirot, which is connected or vis-a-vis the 10 sfirot. Ushar Hashemot Akinuim, and all the other names of Hashem and the nicknames, Hem Hitmazgut HaPeulot, is basically connected to the actions, Lefi Shinui Pratei Hanaga, according to how God is going to govern or rule in that particular item. Kemo Shebi'er Nefesh HaChaim, like the Nefesh HaChaim explained, Ufi kol shinui pratei sidrei hanaga, according to all the different details of the order of the government or the leadership, shemishtalshav v'nimshach lazeh le'olam, that is basically connected and develops and comes to this world. Im ledin, if it comes for judgment. Im lechesed, if it comes for the loving kindness. Or rachamim, mercy. Al yidei kochot ha'elyonim v'itmazgutam, on by way of the power, the forces, the upper forces. Of course, everything is connected to Hashem and their connections. Mishtanim hashemot, based on that, the names change. The kinuim v'hate'arim, and the nicknames and the descriptors. All these change based on how God is governing in that particular area. Shalachol inyan prati misidrei hanaga, every detail, every specific detail in the order of the government, miyuchad lo kinui v'shem prati. Everyone has its own name and its own nickname. Sheken morim pirusham al shel hate'arim, and this is the explanation of the adjectives or the descriptors, shehem mitzad hakochot habruim, that are basically according to the powers, the forces that are created, like rachum and chanun. Pirusham rachamanut, what they mean is they are merciful. The chanina, which basically means beneficence, al habruim. So this is why we see that all the names have different meanings, and the nicknames have different meanings, and the nicknames of the nicknames have different meanings. And that's why when a person learns the Torah, every word there is chashuv, it's important. There's a specific reason why that name is used, why that nickname is used, and why the word is there. V'sugit hakinuyim bi'er Rabbeinu b'arichut b'Shaare. And the details of this are explained by Rabbi Gikatilia in the fifth Shaare, in the fifth gate of this book. We're still in the introduction, by the way. We didn't even get to the first gate. Maybe, God willing, next week we can get to the first gate. Shekinuyim hem, it's not really the first gate, it's really the 10th gate, because it's going up. Shekinuyim hem kedimyon kelim, that the nicknames are like a vessel, leshemot, of the names, she'enam nimchakim, that are not erased. Ubahem po'alim shemot hakodesh et peulatam. And through these kelim, which are the nicknames, this is how the holy names of Hashem act in the world. Kegon degel chesed shehu El, which means the banner of the chesed is the El, which means the name El is what's behind the chesed. Ve'akinuyim shehen shemasha vechilav hem gadol rachum vechanun, which means other types of nicknames that are there, that are his names and his armies, like gadol, rachum, chanun, chasin, erech apayim, rav chesed, kadosh, chasid, soleach. All of these are different, basically kinuyim, are basically nicknames. Ayen Sham. That's what the rabbi is going to explain in Shaare. Be'ezrat Hashem will get there. Ve'akavana, and what this means, she'peulat ha'chesed, that the action of the chesed, the loving kindness, mitchaleket lo'ofanim rabim shel hashpa'ah, which loving kindness has all different types of way it has influence in the world, and that's why it's broken up into these different types of nicknames. Lechesed nitan b'matanat chinam. Chesed, when it's given for free, which means the person didn't deserve it, didn't do anything to earn it. Anu mishtamshim b'shem chanun. That is what it means when it says chanun. That's what the Torah says. Va'et hanan el Hashem. What does Rashi say over there? What does it mean va'et hanan? Moshe Rabbeinu, he asked for matanat chinam. He asked for a free gift, which means he asked for Hashem not to look at his deeds and to give him what he was asking for, which was to go into the land of Israel. Milshon matana v'chanina, which is from the language of like a gift which you don't deserve, or something that is given to you even though you don't deserve it. Ulechesed shemilravim din, and when you have loving kindness that is mixed with judgment, an mishtamshim b'shem rachum, that we use the name rachum, which means chanun is basically chesed that is given for free, but when chesed is mixed with din, that is called rachum, merciful. V'chen Shaare kinuim. He's going to explain this in a lot more detail, be'ezrat Hashem, later on in the book. Don't worry if you don't understand so much of what he's saying. This is all for an introduction. I want to go to Kaf Hey. We're on page Lamed. If we go to Kaf Hey, it says on the bottom over there, Shal kol milot HaTorah, all the other words of the Torah. Kevan shekol habriya shosha min HaTorah. Because we know that the entire creation, the roots of the entire creation are from the Torah. Kidichtiv, as it is written, Histakel be'oraita ubara alma, that God looked into the Torah and he created the world. Meaning that everything that is in the world has its root in the Torah. And what is the Torah? The Torah is made up of the names of Hashem that are not erased, the kinuyim, the nicknames, and the descriptive terms, the toarim. Lachen kol ha-Torah hi shemot v'kinuyim. All of the Torah is made up of names and nicknames, Shem Shosheh Peulot, and these are the roots of the actions that Hashem has in the world. Kmo shekatav Ramban, like the Ramban wrote, B'hakdamato lePerush HaTorah, in his introduction to his explanation of the Torah, quote, Od yesh bi'adenu Kabbalah shel emet. We also have in our hands a tradition of truth. Ki kol ha-Torah kula, the entire Torah, shemotav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, are the names of God. She'atevot mitchalkot l'shemot, that the words are broken up into different names, bi'inyan echad, in one particular item, kilu tachshov al derech mashal, meaning it's like a mashal, it's like a parable. Ki pasuk bereshit, the pasuk bereshit, yitchalek letevot acherot. One can take the first pasuk of the Torah, which is bereshit, bara Elohim, and by rearranging where you put the stops, you can get a different words. Kegon berosh yitbara Elohim, which means by changing the stops. And why can you do that? The Chol HaTorah can, and all the Torah is like this, not just for the first pasuk of the Torah. Milvad sirufehem v'gimatrehon shel hashemot, and that's not including the tserufim, which basically means all the different combinations and the gematrias of all the different letters of the Torah, which also have secrets attached to them. And therefore, a Sefer Torah that has one mistake, even if it's a letter that doesn't change the meaning of the word. For instance, like you have the word kinim in the Torah. Kinim is lice. Kinim is spelled kaf nun mem sofit, which means there's no yud inside. If a sofer, when he's writing Sefer Torah, puts a yod inside, the Sefer Torah is pasul. Why? Because he's added a letter that's not there. Because it changes, depending if you add a letter or subtract a letter, that changes other ways one could read the Torah. So even though it doesn't change the meaning of the Torah the way we would read it publicly, nevertheless the Sefer Torah is pasul, because all of the different ways you can rearrange the letters are the names of Hashem. Continuing on, that if a person is to'eh b'Sefer Torah, be'ot achat b'maleh or b'chaser, pasul. If it's missing a letter that's supposed to be there, or if there's an additional letter that's not supposed to be there, the Sefer Torah is pasul. V'nireh she'aTorah ketuva be'esh shechora al gabe esh levana. That we know that the Torah is written kavyachol, like to say, like a black fire on a white fire. Be'inyan hazeh she'izkanu haya, which means this is how the Torah was initially in the Shamayim. Sha'ita ktiva retzufa b'li hefsek tevot, that the way the Torah was originally in the Shamayim, when it was the black fire on top of white fire, there were no basically interruptions between letters, which means all the letters were one after another, allowing one to rearrange the letters in different ways and make different words. And there's one way a person can read the Torah by the way of the names. And there's another way that we read the Torah, which is the way we read it publicly on Shabbat and when we have a Chumash, which is according to the Torah and the mitzvot. That's a separate way to read the Torah. But there's a way to read the Torah just based on the names, and that would mean that sometimes the pasukim or the words are a little bit different, which means it's the same letters, but the way the letters are arranged, instead of having a word with 3 letters and another word with 3 letters, you have one word with 4 letters, another word with 2 letters. It could completely change the meaning. Obviously, there's the only way to read it when we read it publicly is the way according to the mitzvot, but there's another way to read the Torah. There are many other ways to read the Torah. And we know when the Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai, it was given by way of the Kriyah of the mitzvot, which is what when you open up the Chumash, we see how it is written, how the words are made. But by heart, he was given how to break it up a little differently to get the Kriyah by the names. Anyway, he's going to talk about this in much more detail later, but he's just basically explained why leaving out one letter, even if the letter doesn't change the meaning, the Sefer Torah is pasul. It has to be corrected. Okay. Let's go to Kaf Vav. Ne'ereget al Shem Havaya, which means the Torah is ne'ereget, is basically connected by the name of Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei. HaTorah Kedusha Shosha Be'olomot Elyonim. That the Holy Torah, the source, the root of the Torah, is in the upper worlds. Umisham Mamshich Orah, and from there is Kav Yachol light. It's not talking about real light because light is physical. It's talking Derech Mashal. There's an emanation. Umishtalshel olamenu, and it develops till it comes to our world. Betzerufe otiyot, with different combinations of the Hebrew letters. Veshemot, and different names of Hashem. Livro et hametziut, which creates the reality of the world that we are in. Ulahanhigota bechol rega v'rega, and this is how God runs the world from a minute-to-minute basis. Be'or esas sfirot, with the light or the emanation of the 10 sfirot. K'mo shekatav Arakanti, like the Rakanti wrote in Parashat Lech Lecha, quote, V'ineh kol otiyot HaTorah, therefore all the letters of the Torah, betzurotehem, in their forms, ubechiburan, and how they're put together, ubepirudan, and how they are separated from each other, otiyot akumot, in the letters that are curved, and the akudot, and the letters that have the vowels underneath them, chaserot, letters that are missing, v'yeterot, extra letters, ketanot, when you have smaller letters, which means it's a little smaller, like in Vayikra, the first word, the aleph is small, ugedolot, like the dalad of Shema in a Sefer Torah is bigger. Hence, Sidrei HaEses Sfirot. This is basically according to the order of the 10 Sfirot. V'lachen hayat tzorech lispor ha'otiyot v'atevot. And therefore, there was a requirement to count all of the letters and all of the words. And that's why we call them sofrim. Why are they called sofrim? They're called sofrim because they count. What are they? A sofer. What does a sofer do? Sofer are one of the sofrim. What they do is they count the letters and words. This is how we know exactly how many letters and words are in the Torah. If it's missing one letter, it's pasul. If it has an extra letter, it's pasul. Ki kula binyan Elohei chatzuva bishmo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That all of it is a building, it's a holy building, a holy structure that is hewn from the names of God. The Alken Sefer Torah shechaser ot echad, therefore a Sefer Torah that is missing one letter, or shehotir ot echad, or there's an extra letter there, pasul, it is invalid. Lefi she'en zot surat ha'eses sfirot, because this is not the way the eses sfirot are. Ubiyerod Haramak, and the Rav Moshe Cordovero explained, Besifro Shiur Koma, in one of his Sefarim called Shiur Koma, in Siman Nun Chet, the Ata Efresh, and now I will explain. Hine inyana Torah kula hishmotav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the Torah in its entirety is the names of God. Ratzal Omar, shehi or bechinat ha'atzilut kanoda, that it's like the light that comes from the Atzilut. The Atzilut is, for the purposes of our book where we are right now, the highest world, the closest one to Hashem. And that's why it's called Atzilut, from the word in Hebrew, which is Etzel, which means next to. V'hu or HaTorah, and this is the or, the light of the Torah. Kol eze yichud o tziruf o shem sheistaref min haTorah hi bechinat achat. Every single yichud, which means unification, or every single combination that is added, that is connected, that is brought together from the Torah, this is one aspect. The or echad meorot tiferet, and all of this is from the or of the tiferet, which is one of the sfirot. Omnam en mitziuta sham beotiot elu. But the mitziut, the actual reality, is not in the letters themselves, shehamitztarfot shel hagashmut hazeh, because the letters it's gashmut, it's material. Shezel levush v'dimyon. This is only like a clothing, which means there are the ideas of the Torah that are clothed in the letters and in the names of the Torah. So that's only clothing for the Torah, but the clothing is not the Torah. The Torah is the message that's underneath. Shinit gashma haTorah laredet elenu achar kama madregot. But in order for the Torah to come down to us, it was like nit gashma. It became material, meaning that it was with words and with letters that is written on a parchment. Omnam lamala, but in the Shamayim, Hi otiyot velo shemot velo kinyumis. Only letters, no shemot and no nicknames. Ubirita lamata, but when the Torah comes down, el makom hashemot, to the place of the names, naset kulash motav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Torah is basically all names of Hashem. Ubirita od naset kula kinuyim. And when it comes down further, it's basically all nicknames. Anyway, this will become clearer, Be'ezrat Hashem, as we go through a little further. Continuing on page Lamed, on Lamed, Nimtzet Lamed, therefore we learn, Keshetavin kavanat shemot hakodesh shemishbechotehem, when a person understands the names, the holy names, and as they appear in their families, v'tasiga kinuyim hamiyuchadim l'chol echad mehem, and a person understands how each one of the nicknames, which one of the names it's attached to, as tireh shakol talui bishmo gadol yitbarach. Then a person, when he's studying Torah, he realizes that everything is connected to his great name, may it be blessed. V'tichsof v'tishtokek lihidabek bo, and he'll have a tremendous desire to attach himself or herself to God. V'tira tifchad mimenu, and he will have awe and he will have trembling from Hashem. Ve'az tavin yirat Hashem, and then he will understand what does it mean yirat Hashem. V'dat Elohim timtza, and knowledge of Elohim you will find, which means through learning the names and understanding this, when a person understands these names, when he reads the Pesukim, he's going to have a much closer relationship to God. V'tikanes bichlal otam shene'emar bahem, and then he or she can become included in those that it says about them. Asagaveu ki adash shemi. I was able to grasp him because I know his names. And this is, we know, is in the Mizmor of the Pegaim, which is Tehillim Tzadi Aleph. So one can say that if a person wants to be rescued from Pegara, if a person wants to be rescued, Chas v'Shalom, from the Dever, or from the pestilence, or from the plague that's going on right now, the only way we can is Lihishaneh el Shavinu Shabashamayim, by getting to know Hashem and His names. Perhaps this is the message of the Magefa that we're going through right now, for all of us to focus much more on getting to know Hashem and His names. And that's the reason why we want to do this book, so we can get to know His names and perhaps have a cure for the Magefa. But that's what's discussed in Tehillim in 91. And that Tehillim specifically deals with all kinds of plagues and things like that happen. Ve'az tavin kama hu onesh hamaskir shem shamayim levatala. And then a person will truly understand how serious, how grave is the sin if a person mentions God's name in vain. And even more so if he pronounces the name Yud Ke Vav Ke the way it is written and not the way we read it. Kal v'chomer hamishtamesh bo, and how much more so if a person uses the name of God to make changes in the world. Each one of these is a much higher degradation. And Maskir Shem Shamlaim Mavatala is a very, very serious sin. So that gives you a sense of what the other sins are here, which was discussed previously, that a person who pronounces the name Yud Ke Vav Ke, En lo chelek l'olam haba, he loses his chelek in the world to come. Kal v'chomer, a person who uses the name of God for personal gain. He already gave us the warning on that previously. Continuing on, the kodem she'atchil b'kavanat hachibur. Before I discuss the intent of my writing of this book, yesh li lehakdim, I have to give you another introduction. Lefanecha hakdama achat v'hizot, another introduction, and this is what it is. Klal gadol da, know this general principle. Ki amitat etzem haborei yitbarach enena museget lezulato. That the true knowledge of the essence of God is not understood to anyone, any being, but God. Which means the only being that has the ability to understand God's essence is God himself. No being, not angels, not people, no one, not Moshe Rabbeinu, no one has the ability to understand the essence of Hashem. Then bechol hamoneh mala yodeh mekomo. And not only that, but none of the angels in the Shamayim know his place. Now, of course, it does mean his physical place, because there's no physical place, it's spiritual. But what does it mean, his makom? They don't understand his source. The makom refers to the source. Everything is this, Hashem is the source for everything. But the angels don't know his makom. How do we know that? Because what does it say? Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot Melech Haaretz Kevodo. And then it says, the next pasuk, Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimekomo. So clearly the angels don't know where his makom is. They're saying, blessed is the honor of God from his place. But they don't know where his place is. If the angels don't know his place, Kal Vachomer, we don't know his place. Kol Sheken Etzem Amitato. And if they don't know his place, of course they don't know his essence. Halotir Malachei Mala Mahem Omrim. As we said, I'm sorry, we preempted it. What are the angels in the Shamayim? What do they say? Baruch Kevod Hashem Mekomo. Blessed is the glory of God from his place. B'chol makom shehu, wherever he is, which means they don't even know where he is. He's everywhere, which means they don't know exactly his source. The im elyonim kach, and if this is the case with the angels, tachtonim achat kama v'kama. How much more so when we're talking about people, human beings, which are lower than angels vis-a-vis the worlds? How can it be that a human being would understand this if the angels don't? Therefore, we see that all of the different things that when we read the Torah, when it says kegon, yad v'regel, the hand of God, the foot of God, ozen, that God hears, ayin, that God sees, ush'al kol kayotze b'hem, and all of these, this is what the Rambam calls anthropomorphisms. This is what it's called in English. Mahu, what are these things? Da, you have to know. Veha amen, and you have to believe. Ki kol otam ha'inyanim, all of these things, afal pi shehem morim u'meidim al gidulato v'amitato, even though they describe or they tell us about God's greatness and testify to his truth, and kol bria yecholol ladat, no created being, which includes the angels, can know ulit bonen mahut oto hadavar, to know the essence of what it's talking about. Hanikra yad v'regel ve'ozen kiyotze b'hem, which means we don't understand really what does that mean. It's a representation of something, which is an idea, but that doesn't mean we understand what that is. V'im'anu asuyim b'tzelem udmut, and since we are made in image and in likeness, al yaleh b'datcha, do not allow yourself to think. Ki, next page, lamed bet, ayin b'tzurat ayin mamash, that when the Torah says God has an eye, it's like a human eye. Or yad b'tzurat yad mamash, or he has a hand that's like a human hand. Aval hu inyanim pnimim, these are deep inner meanings, these are hidden meanings. Upnimim lepnimim, and hidden in hidden meanings. Ba'amitat mitziyut Hashem itbarach, in the truth of the essence of God. Asher mehem hamakor ve'ashefa, that from them is the makor, is the source, and the shefa, the abundance, yotze lechol hanimtzaim, that comes out to all of those that are receiving, like us and all the creatures of the world and the angels as well. Bigzerat Hashem itbarach, according to the decree of God, may He be blessed. Aval en mahut yad ke mahut yad, but don't make the mistake in thinking that the mahut, that the reality of the yad is similar to our yad. V'lo tavnitam shaveh, their essence is completely different. Kumosh Amar, like it says, ve'elmi tidameyuni ve'eshveh. To who can you liken me and I can be compared to? That's from Yishaya. So we see that even though the Torah speaks in these terms that are like human terms, these are representation of very, very sublime ideas, and the details of those ideas are beyond human comprehension. It's like a mashal, it's like a parable to understand a deeper idea. But chas v'shalom, to think that God has a hand, that God has eyes. Let's go to Kafchet on the bottom of page Lamed Aleph. Mash anachnu medabrim bo yitbarach, when we speak about Hashem, beshemot beotiot bitzurei adam, when we speak about God with names, to the names and the letters and the imagery of man. Okay, hakol hu mashal. This is all a mashal. Hamore al peulotav, that describe his action. We know nothing about the essence of God. All we know is how God interacts in the world with us. Kamo bi'er shebi'er Arizal, like the Arizal explained in Etz Chaim, Vezel Shono, and this is his language. The omnam davar galui, it is clearly revealed. Who ki en lamala guf, that in the shamayim there's no body. Velo koach haguf, and no force of a body. Chalila, God forbid. The kol hadimyonot ve'atziyurim, and all of the imagery and all of the different types of things that the Kabbalah talks about. Elu lo mipnei shehem kach v'shalom, chas v'shalom. It's not that that's how it is in the shamayim, chas v'shalom. Okay. Omnam, but l'sakech et ha'ozen, it's to make it so we can hear it and understand these sublime concepts, that we use these terms, because we have to have some terms to say in order to describe these sublime concepts. So a person can have some type of understanding of these things, ha'elyonim, that are very, very exalted, haruchaniim, that is spiritual, bilti nitpasim, that cannot be easily grasped, v'nirshamim b'sechel enoshi, in the logical mind of a human being. Lachen nitan reshut, therefore the Torah gave permission, ledaber b'bchinat tziyurim, to speak as if there is this imagery in the shamayim, the dimyonim, and different types of like yad and regel and things like that. Kasher hu pashut b'chol sifrei Zohar, like we see throughout the Sefer Zohar. A person who doesn't understand this, chas shalom, is going to come to kfirah when he reads this kind of things. We need to understand there is no physicality in the shamayim. All of the language, the words that we use are describing deep spiritual concepts. The goal is to understand the concept behind and to use the mashal to understand the nimshal, to use the parable to understand the message. V'gam pesukei Torah, and also in the verses of the Torah, atzma, it's themselves. Kulam ke'echad onim ve'omrim b'davar zeh. All of the verses of the Torah speak to this. Kemo she'amar HaKatuv, like the pasuk says, Enei Hashem hema meshotetim b'chol haaretz, that the eyes kavyachol of Hashem wander throughout the entire land. Enei Hashem el tzadikim, that the eyes of God are focused on the righteous. Ve'yishma Hashem, and God heard. Ve'yarach Hashem, and God smelled. Ve'yidaber Hashem, and God spoke. Uch'elo rabot, like many of these types of things. We have to understand these are all imagery. This is all for the purpose of understanding the nimshal. This is the mashal. The im haTorah atzma dibra kach, and if the Torah itself speaks like this, gam anachnu nuchal ledaber kilshon hazeh. We have permission to speak like this about these sublime and these exalted things. Im hayot shepashutu, even though it is clear she'en sham lemala ela orot dakim, that in the Shamayim there is only spiritual things, there's no physicality whatsoever. The term orot doesn't mean light, because light has a physicality to it. Light can be bent, so it's not talking about that. It's a mashal. Even the or is a mashal for something that is much deeper. Betachlit haruchaniyut, in the essence of the spirituality, bilti nitpasim sham klal, which means there is no physicality whatsoever. Kmo shemara katuv, like the pasuk says, ki lo reitem kol temuna. You did not see any picture. You didn't see any imagery. Rabot, and like many of these things. There's another way to describe and to talk about these things. Just like we can use the imagery, yad and regel and things like that, similarly we can also use the letters of the Hebrew alphabet to describe these sublime things as well. Kichol ot ve'ot more al or prati elyon, because each letter of the Hebrew alphabet is basically speaking to a light, which not real light, of course, an emanation that is very, very high. The gam tmunat zo davar pashut, and also this is very, very clear. Hu ki en lamala lo ot velo nekuda. In the Shamayim, there's no letters and there's no vowels. The gam zed derech mashal. This is also derech mashal. This is also a parable. The tziyur lesakechet haozen kaniskar, and an imagery so we can talk and we can understand and we can hear these concepts. Ubibchinat tziyurim elu, and through these understanding these things, hen tziyur ha'adam v'hen tziyur otiyot. That's why we have the imagery of man or the imagery of the letters. This is all a mashal. Shtehen muchrachim lahavin inyan haorot ha'elyonim. Both of them are needed. Both the imagery of man and the imagery of the letters, both of them are needed to understand the orot elyonim, to understand these sublime ideas. Kasher tireh sifrei Zohar, like we see in the Zohar, binuyim al shte bechinot hatzirim ha'ele, which means the entire Zohar is built on these types of mishalim. Okay, kaftet. Inyanim pnimim upnimim lipnimim. Rabbeinu bechol hasefer, our rabbi, which is Rabbi Gikatilia, in this entire book, mevaer rak et Talmud ha'eseh sefirot. He basically is explaining the Talmud of the 10 sfirot. Shebahem dibru harishonim, that the Rishonim, the Rambam and the Rashi and the Ritva, they spoke about it. Ad doro shel haramak, until the generation of the Ramak. Rabbi Moshe Cordovero lived around 1550 in Tzfat. He was a contemporary of Rav Yosef Karo, the author of the Shulchan Aruch. The Inyan HaPartzufim, I'm not going to go into detail what that is, which is basically another way of understanding the Sfirot, a deeper or an inner meaning of understanding the Sfirot. Shalzeh banu kol Torah ha'arizal, that the entire Torah of the Arizal is built on the concept of Partzufim. Maskir rak beremez. This is only hinted to by the Rishonim. Sheyesh kan inyan penimi, and the way they hinted to it is they would say in their Perush, there is a deeper meaning here. Rabbi Chaim Vital, like Rabbi Chaim Vital wrote, Haramban, the Ramban, Nachmanides, V'chaverav, and his friends, V'divrei harishonim, and all the words of the Rishonim, which means the rabbis that lived in the Middle Ages, Lo hiskiru rak eses sfirot, they only talked about the 10 sfirot, V'lo gilu inyana partzuf klal, but they did not reveal the concept of the partzuf at all. Veda, you should know, Sharamban ve'arishonim, the Ramban and the Rishonim, hayu yodeim bepartzuf elu. They knew these things, but they were forbidden to reveal them. Shedabru behelem gadol me'od. They spoke about them in a very, very encoded way, in a very, very hidden way. Lerov hagalut. Meaning what? Because of the galut, because of where they were, shaloni tan reshut legalot, that it was not permitted at that time to have these things revealed. Ulhit pashet ha'orot hagedolim, and for these great orot to be shared with the rest of the world. which means even the great Chachamim, but not the unique of the generation. Because in that time there was a lot of the klipot, which was a lot of the negative forces were in the world at that point. So we needed there to be a development, and that's why the Arizal was permitted to reveal these things, because he lived around 1550, and that was after the period of the Rishonim. And as we get closer and closer to the Mashiach, there is more and more of this that is being revealed. I have to tell you, a book like this, when I was a kid, there was no Perush. When I bought this book, I bought this book when I was 19 years old. It's called Shaare Orah, which is the book we're learning now. This book basically is only the top part. There's no Perush at all for this book. And I spent about 20 or 30 years trying to understand this book to no avail. Baruch Hashem, now you have this Perush, you have another Perush, so we see that all of these things, all of these sublime concepts are being revealed more and more. That is a siman that the Mashiach is very, very close. Because as we get closer and closer to Mashiach, this is going to be revealed more. In fact, what it says in the Tanakh is in the time of the Mashiach, prophecy is going to return to the Jewish people. Men, women, children, they're going to be prophets again. Basically, within the Kabbalah is contained prophecy. That's not to say that anybody's a prophet, but with these concepts and understanding this limud is how a person would be able to attain prophecy should we have the zechut to have the Mashiach come in our days. And that's why the prophets, when they speak, and that's why he brought Hanan, he brought Shmuel, and he brought Moshe, because the prophets were experts in the Shemot of Hashem, because they knew how to communicate with Hashem in a way that God would communicate back to them. Continuing on inside here. If they knew about this, they spoke about it with a hidden way. It was not permitted yet to be revealed, because the klipot was still very, very strong. And anyone who's a zar cannot have kodesh, which means that back then it wasn't. Not everybody was okay for this, and that's why it had to be hidden. Omnam be'ikvot meshicha. This is what Rabbi Chaim Vital is writing, and he's writing this in around 1580, okay, or maybe a little earlier than that. In the time of the Mashiach, and the ikvot of the Mashiach, Kamo bedorenu zeh, which means the Rabbi Chaim Vital was saying in his generation, of course, Kal Vachomer, our generation, which is generations later, hitchilu ha'orot lihitpashet. The lights began to spread out, liot kebarishona, like they were in the beginning. When there was prophecy in the world, kamo shaya bizman olam hamitukan, like it was previously. Ayen sham beharchavag. Look there in more detail. Omnam Rabbeinu b'derech remez maskir, but the rabbi speaks about it in a way of remez, a hint. Et chelkei partsufim, the different types of partsufim, kegon einayim v'zakan, kefei sheitbar b'chol hasefer. So the Ramban clearly knew this, but he was not permitted to reveal it. And in any place where one of the Rishonim found themselves that they couldn't explain any further because they were forbidden to reveal it, they would say, over here there's an internal thing, there's something that is hidden and is deep, and I can't say anymore. Hamevin yavin, that's what the Ramban would say. And those who were enlightened to the secret would know what he was talking about, and those who were not enlightened to the secret would know what he's talking about. And even though we see that many of the words of a rabbi here, because this rabbi, Rabbi Gikatilia, he wrote this in 1260, he was a contemporary of the Ramban, so he lived in a time when it was forbidden to reveal much of the things. So therefore, in this book, there's going to be places where he's going to say, this is something amok and I can't discuss it any further, and that's why the Perush on the bottom is going to be so gavaldic. Continuing on, But he explains it from the Zohar. Lo izkiret Zohar beperusho, but he didn't mention the Zohar in his perush because once again, the Zohar was not yet revealed to the level where it was allowed to be spoken about in written word or publicly, for that matter. Beperush rak et ma shenirmaz bepesukei Torah. So what does he do? He basically used the pesukim of the Torah because that has been revealed to hint to what he's talking about, and anyone who knew the Zohar or had the Kabbalah was able to understand what he was talking about. Uba Perek Hey, and in the 5th parak of this, Binyan Iyov shemifurash bezohar katav en lerushud lagalot. When he's going to discuss in Perek Hey about something regarding to Iyov, he writes over there, and I do not have the permission to reveal it. Okay? Because he was a rabbi who lived in the Middle Ages. Lamed, on the bottom of Lamed Bet, word Lamed. Asher mehem hamakor ve'ashefa yotze lechol hanimtzaim. That from these letters comes the shefa. From these comes all the shefa, the abundance. Bi'ur inyana partsufim. To understand the inyana the partsufim, hu she'adam nikra olam katan. A person is called olam katan, a small world. V'hu kolel betochel kol hanhagotav yitbarach ba'olam, and contained within the body of the man is basically the way that Hashem interacts with the world. Not physically, of course, it's not what we're talking about, but the mashal, a person can learn from his own body, he can understand the sublime concept in the Shamayim, because that's what it means when it says, V'tzelem Elokim bara oto, he created man in God's image. V'chol hanhagotav yitbarach, and all of the way he behaves in the world, be'olamot, in the world, mishtakefot b'mivnei nishmato shel adam u'b'mivnei gufo. It's similar. The way God interacts with the world is very, very similar to the way the neshama has a relationship with the body of a person and the way the person's body is built. Ukashem sheyes hashgachat Hashem, just like there is divine providence, Yitbarach hanemezet be'enei Hashem, which is hinted to when it says enei Hashem. What does that mean? That's talking about hashgacha. For a person to be mashgiach, what does that mean? He has to see. So the word enei Hashem is a remez. The deeper meaning is hashgacha. V'chen chesed henemaz be'yamin Hashem. And when it says yamin Hashem, that's chesed. V'chen yesh la'adam ayin, just like a person has an eye, and a yad, yamin, a right hand, keneged inyanei hanaga, similar to the way God interacts with the world. Ha'elyonah harumezet b'tzurat adam, that is hinted to in the structure of the human body. V'nei lechol adam, for every person, b'chitzioniot gufo, through his body, yesh asara kochot, there are 10 strengths, 10 forces of his body. Ve'hanhagot ikarim, and essential ways of moving. Hamakbilim le'eses sfirot chabad b'moach. Basically, a person has chokhmah, bina, and dat, which is in the moach. Okay, that's the mind. Chagat nehi begufo, chesed givura tiferet netzach hod yesod is his body. Okay, and then it's with the din. Okay, I'm sorry, begufo. Ve'omnam bepnimiotam ve'ofim shonim, but in its inner meanings and other aspects, ha'anashim betachnotehem zemizeh, each person differing one from the other. Ahad rachman ve'asheni shofet. One of these items has mercy, and the other one has judgment. Hakol bedin, all this is with judgment. Ve'ashinui hazen nikar bepartzufehem, and this is recognized in a person's partsuf, in the person's face. And that's why the pasuk says, the Torah says, or it says in the Gemara, Keshem shedeotehem shonot, just like there are different deot amongst people, kach partsufehem shonim. So we see in the language of the Gemara, it's already talking and hinting to this concept of the partsufim. Shebifnim bepanim nikara pnimiyut shel adam, because in a person's face, this is how you see what's going on the inside of a person. V'chen be'olamot ha'elyonim, and similarly in the olamot elyonim, in the upper worlds, hanhaga shlema, the way God is running the world, murkevet me'eses sfirot, is made up of the eses sfirot. Ulam kol sfira yichola liot gam ken hagah shlema. Each sfira can be its own hanhaga, its own way of doing things. Im ofi hanhaga miuchad la, but with the specific type of working that sfira has, kegon rachamunut or din. Ve'az mitparetet hasfira, and then the sfira is broken down further, le'eses sfirot, into 10 different sfirot, pratiyut, which is the details, umizeh murkav parzuf shalem kishur komat ha'adam. And that's the parzuf shalem. Just to quickly go through the parzufim so we understand what we're talking about. There's something called the parzuf, which is called arich anpin, which is the long face, that corresponds to the keter. And then there's the Abba, which corresponds to the Chokhmah. And then there's the Ima, which corresponds to the Binah. And then there's the Ze'er Anpin, which is the small face, which corresponds to the Chesed, Givurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, and Yisod. And then there's the Nukva, which corresponds to the Malchut. So the Parzufim is Arich Anpin, Abba, Ima, Zer Anpin, and Nukva. Continue on the bottom. Kegon sfirata keter, like the sfira of the keter, she be'ofi shel rachamim gimurim. The aspect of that sfira is complete and utter mercy, regardless of whether the people deserve it or not. He po'elet kepartzuf arich anpin. The keter acts through the partzuf of what's called arich anpin, which, if interesting, that stands for patience. It tells you how important patience. Erech apayim is the concept of patience. A person has to be patient. That's what it means when a person has rachamim gimurim. He's patient with other people. A person who's not patient with others, then he's judging others, and then he's judged chas v'shalom b'Hashem. The yesh the partzuf arich anpin, and for the partzuf of arich anpin, hanhagat enayim. The oznaim, there's eyes and there's ears, umoach and mind, hakolel betocho chabad, which contains within it chokhmah, binah, and dat. The dalet is the dat. Im ofi shel rachamim gedolim, but with unlimited mercy. V'chen hanhagat hatiferet, and then if you look at the tiferet, shehi hamishpat, that is the judgment. Gam hi mitparetet le'eses sfirot. The tiferet also is broken up into eses sfirot. Kishiur komat adam, like the person, like the way a person is, the imagery of a person. V'yeshla enayim ve'oznaim be'ofi shel mishpat, and there is eyes and there's ears in the aspect of judgment. Hanikra patzuf ze'er anpin. That's the small face. Milshon panim ze'irot. Faces that are zair, which are smaller. Lohorot shefa hayotze misham katan. To say that the shefa that comes from there is less. Arich anpin has a greater shefa. Ze'er anpin has a smaller abundance, has a smaller shefa. Mishum shisham makom hamishpat ve'adin, because that's the place of judgment and that's the place of din. And what is judgment in din? It limits rachamim. So therefore the shefa is less. Nimsa shechaluk hanhagat ha'ayin shel arich anpin. So therefore we see the aspect of the eye of arich anpin. Shi hashgacha shel rachamim gimurim, rachamim. That is an aspect of mercy. V'chasadim gedolim, and great chesed. L'kiyum ha'olamot, for the purposes of the existence of the worlds. Me'asher ha'ayin shel zer anpin, but vis-a-vis the ayin, the eye of the zer anpin, which is a smaller aspect of shefa. Shisham hashgacha hi l'dgam l'din v'le'onesh. There, it's also talking about din and onesh. Kimuvar barucha be'idra rabba, like to explain in idra rabba, daf kof peitet bet. Ubedaf kof lamed vav bet barucha. Nimsa shekol ha'olam murkav me'eser shemot shehem asara hanhagot. Therefore, we see the entire world is made up of this 10 names that correspond to the 10 different ways Hashem acts with the world. Umehamisha partzufim shehem hanhagot klaliyot. And from 5 different partzufim that are the general principles, and the general is deeper, the detail is superficial, the general is deeper. Ba'alei ofi hanhaga acher keneged daled otiyot shem havaya im kotzo shel yod. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. That's a little bit too much to explain. Let's just continue on just a little bit more. We'll read the next paragraph, and then we will hopefully finish for today. V'da vehaven, you shall know and you shall understand. I'm back on the top on page Lamed Gimel. She'en beno o benenu dimyon mitzad ha'etzem ve'atavnit. that the difference between him and us, our essence and his essence have nothing to do with each other whatsoever. Ela kavanat surot ha'evarim shebanu. But what this means is that our limbs that we have in our bodies, shem asuyim bedimyon simanim, they're like symbols. They are like they're mashal. They're parables. Inyanim situmim elyonim, of more deeper types of ideas. She'en hadat yechola lada'atam, that people cannot truly understand to that level. Ela kidimyon zikaron, but it's almost like you could only understand a little bit of it, and that's the dimyon, like memory. Kmo shekotev Reuven ben Yaakov. When you say someone his name is Reuven ben Yaakov, what do you mean? Shaare en elo otiyot ve'en zo hatzura atzma shel Reuven ben Yaakov. The letters Reuven ben Yaakov, Reish Aleph Vav Bet Nun, and the rest of the letters. Basically, these letters are not the tzura of the person whose name is Reuven ben Yaakov. Tzurato v'tavnito mahuto. Basically, ela zikaron, but it's a way of calling and saying what it is. Shezeh Reuven ben Yaakov akatuv. This is Reuven ben Yaakov. Hu siman keneged oto etzem v'tavnita yadua nikra Reuven ben Yaakov. Which means all the words that we're going to use, whether it's the names of Hashem, the kinuyim, or the kinuyim for the kinuyim, these are all basically to understand the deeper concepts. But sometimes the deeper concepts, you have no other way to say it, and that's why we have these words to say it like this. Okay, I think we will stop here. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.